Welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading, guys. Today is July the 11th, 2021. Today I'm going to be looking at the S&P 500. I'm also going to be following up with our names that we spoke about last week, most notably Aapl, Nvda, Tesla, AMD, Facebook, and AMC. Right here, I do have the S&P 500 on the 1-hour chart. But before I get started in my analysis, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you are interested in trading with us, head over to thewealthymentor.net and check out our Discord group where we do offer swing trading, daily trading names on our daily trading watch list. We also have daily market analysis along with entries and exits on all your favorite names. So be sure to check that out. And also leave me a comment in the comment section if you do want a name reviewed for next week. With that being said, we do have S&P 500 here on the 1-hour chart. And as you guys can see, we did have a short week last week, opening down and breaking down actually down to that 43.20 mark before we stepped in. Buyers did step in and push it back to all-time highs, which was that 43.60 mark. We did receive a sizable pullback on a gap down on Thursday, all the way down to that $4,300 mark and below, actually, right here, before buyers stepped in at that $4,300 mark. And we did receive a nice sizable pullback, pull up over to that 43.71 all-time highs area. This also filled the gap that we had here back on July the 1st. So no need to worry about that. However, it did push lower before buyers did step in. Overall, I am very bullish on the market. Just, usually what you want to see with selling pressure is a 1%, 2%, even 3% move. And the next day you want to see follow up with that pressure. And we didn't see none of that. It was basically a one-day wonder before buyers stepped in and pushed up to all-time highs. And we are sitting pretty at that 43.70 mark left on Friday. Okay, the trend is your friend, and overall, I do see us hitting that 43.80 mark for my first target and 4,400 psychological mark for my next target going into next week. Okay, so that's the S&P 500 and my market analysis going into next week. The first name I wanted to take a look at is Aapl. Aapl is significant to me because I marked it down last week because we did have all-time highs at that 145 mark. We did hit that 145 mark and slightly did make all-time highs at 145.65. Next week, I am looking at a break above that. My first take profit target I have drawn out here is 147, and my second take profit is that psychological mark of 150. Overall, I'm pretty bullish on Aapl. We do have analyst upgrades of the 170 mark, so they do see Aapl go into 170. Can it happen next week? I don't know. However, if we do see market strength and the market pushing up to that 43.80, 4,400 mark, as I mentioned earlier, we definitely will see Aapl push up to that 150 mark because Aapl does tend to move with the markets. It's closely correlated with the S&P 500. Okay, we also held the 142 area pretty well after the market dipped down to that 4,300 mark. Usually Aapl dips down quite a bit with it. However, Aapl did hold that 142 area, and to me, that showed me that overall Aapl is really bullish. And even the market with that one-day wonder of a push down did not affect it so much. We did close Friday session at 145, which to me was extremely bullish. As I said, 147, 150 are my targets. However, if we do see market weakness like last week, I am looking at that 142 area to hold. If not, I have 140 and that 138.50 mark as my next key level of support. Overall, still bullish on Aapl. If you are holding positions, if you are holding contracts going into next week, you are sitting pretty. Okay. Next name that I want to speak about is Nvda. Nvda did hold that $800 mark after we did have all-time highs at 836. Overall, I was looking past that 836 mark going into last week. Unfortunately, we did not get that due to market weakness. However, I do have good news, and that being that we did hold 800 psychological support. Going into next week, my first confirmation is that 804 mark. I would not necessarily enter at 804. However, that would be my first confirmation to see if Nvidia is on the right track. If that were to break, my entry would be above that 810 area, and 810 on convincing volume and healthy market conditions, I am looking at take profits 820, 830, and potential retest at all-time highs, which is that 836 mark. So I am keeping Nvidia on a close watch next week. Also look to see the semiconductor sector is healthy. That's the next indicator for you next to the S&P 500. To the downside, we do have strong support at 786. As you guys can see here, we did defend that line pretty well last week. Below that, I am looking at 775 for shorts. This would be my first take profit if 786 were to break. And my second take profit is that 766 area, which this does coincide with this top over here left back on June the 18th. Okay, still pretty bullish on Nvidia, and as long as we do see semiconductor strength and the S&P 500 hold up, we'll definitely see Nvidia push up as well. Okay, another name that I want to speak about is Tesla. I did speak about Tesla last week, and we were in a tight tight channel from that 700 to that 665 area. We finally broke down out of that area, as you guys can see here, the breakdown. Buyers did step in as low as that 620 support, received a beautiful bounce play back above 650, closing just above that support line at 655. Going into next week, I am looking at a test of 665. If that were to break, that would confirm that we're back into that channel. However, that's not such a bad thing, because if you are a scalp trader or an options trader, you're going to have to play the levels and you're not so worried about what's too far ahead. So my first indicator would be a break above 665. My take profit number one would be that 682 mark. And my second take profit would be that 690 to the $700 area, as we do have strong resistance up there from last week. Overall, I am neutral on Tesla, just like how it was last week. I would like to see $700 break for me to change my analysis to bullish. Overall, if we cannot hold that 650 area right here, and if this just was a dead cat bounce, which would make us head lower, I am looking at 650 as key support. If that were to break, I will be opening up short positions and a take profit of 640, 630, and a potential 620 retest once more. We also do have some consolidation here left on Tesla back on June the 18th, all the way to June the 23rd, before we did receive that big push up to that $700 rejection point. Okay, so I am neutral on Tesla, and we just need some more data to see what's happening next week. Another name that I want to speak about that's part of the semiconductor section, which is part of SMH, is AMD. AMD is significant for me because I did have a breaking point of that 9650 mark that I was looking at last week, and we failed to break that area. 9650 would have been important for AMD because it would have resulted in all-time highs at that $100 mark. It could have been a nice test. However, like I said, we did have market weakness. Semiconductors also pushed lower, which resulted in AMD pushing lower. Good news is that we did hold 87 support. Buyers did step in. Huge candlestick right here. This is on the 1 hour time frame. Volume confirmed it, right? And we did close right above that 90.50 support zone. Going into next week, I would like to see 92.50 break for potential retest of that 96.50 area. However, I would like to see convincing volume and great market conditions accompany that. And if we do get analyst upgrades, even better. Okay. Overall, if that 90.50 area cannot be purged and broken convincingly, I would like to see us hold that 88.50 mark. If 88.50 can't hold, I am looking at a break below that to $87 take profit number one, and take profit number two at that 85 to 84 area, where we did have some consolidation on this bull flag here before breaking out, create another bull flag here. Okay, so that 85 to $84 area is important support for me if we do see market weakness and if this was just a dead cat bounce. Okay, overall, many of these charts look the same. When the market bounces like this, everything kind of follows it. So pretty much going into tomorrow, all eyes should be on the S&P 500. And honestly, if we do break above that 43.80 mark, it would be pretty bullish for the market. Okay. Another name that I wanted to talk about is Facebook. Much like the rest of the names, Facebook could not make highs above that 358 area that I was looking at. However, it did hold its own right here at that 345 mark. Big buying power right here on the tech sector, pushing Facebook at Friday's close at 350. Going into tomorrow, 350 is first confirmation for me. However, that 353.5 mark is the area where I would be entering in for potential retest of that 356 to 358 mark, which did indicate all-time highs here back on the July the 6th. Okay, we also have multiple rejections here on June the 28th. So that 358 area is significant for me, obviously. Also, like to bring to your attention that volume on Facebook has been pretty scarce. So keep that in mind when you are entering positions, that if you are trading contracts, try to get the 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, even 1 month out contract calls on Facebook if you are bullish on Facebook in the long term. Okay. Another name that I want to speak about, and obviously a lot of people have eyes on this name, is AMC. AMC was in a tight channel. I am going to skip over here to the 4-hour time frame to give you guys a better outlook. Okay, so we were in a channel from that $65 area to that $50 area, and we finally broke down on some bearish volume. We did drop down to that $39 mark before bull stepped in with this monster candlestick right here, pushing it all the way to the $50 mark. This bounce right here, we were potentially down around 12%. Bouncing back to $50 was around a 26 to 27% bounce, which if you did catch that mark at that 39.50 mark, congratulations. It was also significant because we did have a similar bounce right here back on June the 10th, and also once more here on June the 3rd. And these bounces was also pretty big here, as we did bounce from 39.50 all the way to $65. Not so much of a big bounce here, guys, but I am still bullish and I am still optimistic because we did close above that $45 mark. Going into next week, I am looking at $50 for a break above that for potential retest at 57.5. However, we could make a small stop at that $53 mark, which is there's some resistance up there as well. Overall, pretty bullish on AMC still. We did have some events. UFC was a big hit with the AMC theaters being all sold out. The Fast and Furious series was also being played on AMC, which did have great numbers. So we do have some bullish catalysts right here going into next week. Overall, there's a lot of manipulation with this stock, but I just wanted to say that, keep your head up. And the longer that we are above these levels and not dipping down too low and holding this channel that we're in, the more the hedge funds bleed every single day. And AMC, majority of the shares are owned by retail. So keep that in mind, guys. And if you are buying AMC, try to stick to buying shares and not so much options, because the options calls are falling short of in the money. And they're purposely doing that because they don't want another gamma squeeze to happen. And last time we had a gamma squeeze on AMC, as you guys know, we did pop up to that $77 area, which was almost 100+% move. And if we do receive another gamma squeeze, that would result in another 100% move. And the buyers are very bullish. And if that were to happen, it would push even a lot higher, causing the hedge funds to bleed even more. So they really don't want people's options going into the money. So what I recommend is for everyone just to buy shares and just to hold. The longer we do that, the more chance of a short squeeze happening, because shorts haven't covered yet. And what they're trying to do is weigh us out. They want to wait us out. They want us to get bored. They want us to take out our money and move on to different stocks. So the key is buy shares, hold, set it and forget it type deal. And when we do receive that astronomical short squeeze, you'll be thanking yourself. All right. So those are the names I want to speak about this week. It was pretty much a follow-up video from last week. So again, to recap, Aapl, it closed bullish on Friday, slightly above that 145 mark, which did result in all-time highs. Next week, I am looking for a break of that all-time high section with targets of 150. Stocks like to tend to move around numbers, and 150 is an area that I'm looking at. We also do have analyst upgrades of 170 on Aapl, so keep that in mind if you are holding options long term. Another name that I discussed today was Nvda. We did drop down due to market weakness and semiconductor weakness. We did still hold 800 psychological. Look for 810 to break next week for potential retest at all-time highs, which was 836. Tesla, like I said, we were in a tight channel, finally broke down. Buyers did step in at 620. Next week, I am looking at that 665 area for us to re-enter that channel for potential retest of 700. Okay. AMD, again, similar to Nvidia, part of the semiconductor sector. It failed to break 96.50. However, going into tomorrow, 92.5 is important. And if we break that, potential 96.50 once more, retest. And as you guys know, the more times you test resistance zones, the weaker that they get. So keep AMD in mind. Facebook, similar thing. Had a sizable pullback down to 345. Buyer stepped in. Look for 353 resistance to be broken for potential all-time highs retest at that 358 and change. AMC, as I just discussed here, 50 is key for tomorrow, guys. Let's get that up there. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's market stream. Be sure to head over to thewealthymentor.net. Check out our Discord group. You'll love it. Whether you're a novice or a seasoned vet, definitely find value into that. Give this video a thumbs up, and guys, and please leave a comment below if you want any names reviewed for next week. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Bye.